As a beginner, you probably have felt this sensation where you think, oh my God, it's so difficult. I'm not sure if I want to do this. It's asking so much of my time. Maybe I'm not talented. I think I will stop. So let me give you 8 reasons why most beginners give up, and I will give you 10 solutions to solve the problems. So number 1 is actually one that I say to my students when I start, and I'm teaching since over 20 years. So I know this feeling of students having these problems in the beginning. And the first lesson mostly I'm talking about these reasons why people give up. Number 1 is unrealistic expectation. So most of people has a wrong idea of what piano playing means. They heard someone playing, it sounds very easy, it looks very easy, and they think I want to do this too. And then they take lessons hoping that in 2-3 months they will play one of the difficult pieces like Beethoven Moonlight Sonata or like Einaudi piece or something like this. But that's what I'm telling everyone, that's really unrealistic. It doesn't mean it's not possible. I always say also it's depending how much time you invest and how dedicated you are. If you have time to do 5 hours pianos a day, maybe you will get there quicker. I don't know in how many months, depends of everyone, and depends which background you have in other stuff, how much music maybe you did as a kid or not, or if you did something close to music that can help you, or if you heard music in your childhood. This all plays a role in how fast you will learn stuff, right? How many other stuff did you learn in your life, and can this stuff help you in learning piano? So I would start, the thing is to have low expectations to start, right? So to come, you have to know it will be difficult, it will ask a lot of practice, ideally 1 hour a day. It should be every day of the year is the ideal thing too. Like if you can do more, it's better. If you do less, it's okay. You will just get results slower, right? So that's what you should start with, like low expectation, and don't have one piece in mind and thinking I want to play this as quick as possible, because that's one not very interesting, by the way. If your goal in life is to play one piece and then what, and then you stop and that's all you did. So you should also learn to enjoy the process, not the final goal. It's good to have small goals, to think I want to play this one day, and I want to start after 6 months. I want to start trying this. Try, you will see how it's working, but try to have low expectation, because otherwise you would get frustrated not getting them, and then you will stop. Number 2 is lack of time and management. And actually, so you saw I'm giving you the solution right after I'm telling you the problem, right? So that's also a typical one. People has little time to practice piano. And actually it's the same for me. I have hobbies and I realize I don't have so much time for my hobbies because there's so many stuff. So one other thing I would suggest is try not to have too many hobbies, because if you try to do too many things, you will do none of the things correctly, right? That's I think just logic. There is only 24 hours in a day. So limit your hobbies, and then think realistically if you have time to practice piano and to learn piano, and if you have time to dedicate to this every day, right? Because it will ask you to practice every day if you want to get results. If you don't, it's fine, but then don't expect to have quick results, right? So time is something you can actually manage, and how to manage time is actually an interesting thing to learn, by the way. If you can learn this for piano, you might be able to translate this to other stuff you want to do, like sport or work or family or other stuff. So I think it's an interesting thing to learn anyway. And the best thing is, and that's about habits. I was reading a book about habits called Atomic Habits. And this guy was explaining, try to put your stuff you want to do, like practicing piano, for example, try to put it after something, before something you like. Like, for example, he said, like, if you do sport and after one you have a hot shower or something, the hot shower is something you like to have, you will associate the nice feeling of the hot shower with sport. And you can do this with piano too, actually. You could, for example, say, my favorite thing to do is watch a Netflix series. Well, do your half an hour or hour piano, and as a reward, watch your half an hour Netflix just after, because then both will get associated with pleasure, and also you will be willing to do this hour to have this half hour of pleasure after. So that's the pleasure dimension, and then it's easier to organize stuff. So it's easier to increment a habit on a habit that's already existing. So another example could be you brush your teeth every day in the morning, let's say. So do 15 minutes piano before you brush your teeth every morning, or in the evening, for example, do your half an hour piano before or after you brush your teeth. Then it's like connected with something you already have as a habit. And that's the best way to manage the practice. Number 3 is poor guidance. So most of people actually don't have a good teacher, or they look for lessons online, and that's mostly ineffective because it's not personalized, and you have to search yourself. You don't know which information you need for what time, so that's a bit difficult. So if you need a good teacher, you need someone that has experience, that's a musician. I would not suggest taking lessons with someone who is has a job and doing music on the side, because these people has of course less experience than someone who is doing this since he's a child. I'm doing music since I'm a child, and I'm teaching since I'm around 16. So obviously I will have more experience than someone who doesn't. And also I had time to, and many students, also having many students and have had many students give you this possibility to know what's working, what's not working. I had time in all these years to see what is working with students and what's not. And I also had time to see, oh, that's something I should correct, or that's something I should improve with my students. So I have a reflection on my job, because that's my daily stuff. And I'm practicing every day, and I'm doing music since I'm a kid. So I'm in this world of music. This is like my thing 100%, much more than someone who is not. There are students who give lessons, that's fine if they are music students. Of course, they will be cheaper and they will be less experienced. And there are people who are doing another job and give lessons. Well, they can, and then people have this wrong idea. Yeah, I'm a beginner. I don't need to be a professional, so I don't need I don't need a professional to teach me. I can have some inputs from an amateur. Well, that's also not really right, because again, the lack of experience will make you, this person will probably not be able to guide you on the right track from the beginning, and will probably also not be able to give you the right motivations, to be a right example for you, because being an example for your students is important too. If students see you play concerts and see you make recordings and videos like I'm doing, that's motivating for some students. So poor guidance and don't have a structure in the learning process is also something that can make people give up. Most of apps for the moment don't work really well, like Simply Piano and the other one, Flowkey. I tried them with students. I investigated a bit on this. They are not bad. There is a fun side, but they are not good enough for the moment to replace a teacher. I think they will one day. I made a video on this, by the way, on AI. Will AI replace a teacher? I think it's possible they will one day. For the moment, they can't. So try to have a teacher that will adapt to you and that is really qualified. If you want to make progress quickly, that's what you need. If you want to make progress slowly and be frustrated, then take any teacher you want. But it's again up to you. You decide. And that's another thing. Like people don't commit completely, and then after they complain like it's someone else's fault that it doesn't work. But mostly they are the number one problem, right? And people think it's the wrong teacher. I mean, sometimes people think the teacher is wrong when they're actually not practicing, or they think the book is not right, or the exercise are not right, or they try to find external stuff, but mostly they are the reason why it's not working, right? And they didn't do the right stuff from the beginning, because doing the right stuff from the beginning is something that will help you have strong foundation and being up to build up step by step. And it's a difficult stuff, so if you don't have the right foundation, it's getting even more difficult, so you will give up. Number 4 is boring practice routines. So there is a mixed stuff. So doing only exercises can be boring, or is boring, right? If there is no context. If you do only scales and Hano exercise, of course that's super boring and you will give up because it's no fun. You want to do music, right? Now there is the reverse of this. So with exercise, I would say I became a bit mellower with time, because I noticed, and I discussed with people about this, I noticed some people really hate exercise. And then if you hate it and that's the reason you will give up, then okay, don't do them. But then you have also to accept that you will miss out on something, right? There is one thing of practice you will not do, and so you will have a bit less success in your learning process, right? So I always say everyone, they should do exercise, they should try at least, and if after a while they really don't like it, after 6 months they every time hate it and they think about stopping, then I say, well, okay, leave it. You did it, you tried, it's fine. You still can come back to it later if you... But then I have other students who really see the value of this and who also sometimes don't like it but see the value, so they do it, they know it's beneficial and they feel it's beneficial. So that's a good thing, of course, if you have this. And then there are people like me who like the exercise. I like the exercise. I thought it's I don't mind if it's not music, it's just exercise, it's fun to play, I feel my fingers moving, I see the improvement very quickly. I thought, well, that's it, then do exercise, because that's what's giving you quick improvement, right? So that's something that, try to find this. If you can find the purpose of exercise, scales, Hanno and stuff, it will be more fun than if you just do it and don't know why, right? And of course, you have to practice pieces, you have to play music, you have to think in the exercise to practice stuff that will serve you in the music or in what you're practicing. It's not just moving your fingers, right? It's a bit more, but that's again, a teacher should inform you about this. So number 5 is comparing yourself to others. That's also a big problem. I hear this very often in lessons. Typically students telling me, you know, I know this guy, he played on the party and he played wonderful stuff and he said he never took lessons. And I take lessons since 8 years and I cannot play anything. So there is also misleading stuff. Is social media, for example, also people want to look great on social media, so they will show only the nice stuff. They will do 20 takes until it's fine, and then it will sound like they just sit down and play, which is mostly not the case. There might be exceptions. There might be people who sit down and play. I never saw any, but it could be, you never know. Some people has incredible talent, or some people just don't tell what they did in the past, you know, like I had this example too, where a guy was playing in a party, and I knew the guy, so I met the guy on different parties, and actually he was actually playing always the same piece on every party, so he was actually practicing the piece. And he learned piano with his father. He never took official lessons, so he was always telling everyone he never took lessons, he's not practicing, and he can play this piece. And people thought, wow, that's fantastic. So the guy was not telling the whole story, and people, just to impress people, because, let's be honest, everyone wants to impress people, right? So don't compare yourself with other people, because you don't know the background of people. You don't know if they learned violin and flute, and then picking piano was easier because you already know music, right? You don't know if they play the same piece since 20 years and that's why they can play it with no problem, because that's actually 20 years of practicing the same piece makes you become good in playing the piece, right? If you do the same, you will get there too. Now, there are people who maybe are a bit more talented than others. That's another discussion. But again, even then, I don't think it's a good thing to compare yourself with other people, because you always get frustrated and you think, he can do, I cannot do. And if indeed someone can do something you can't, well, there is nothing you can do, right? So just accept what you can do the more you can to get what you want to have, and then that's all you can do, right? Accept your limitation also. So number 6 is plateauing in progress. So after a while, typically the beginning, most of people make quick progress, because also it's new and there is a lot of motivation, so they practice a lot. Then there is like a tip where you stop doing as quick progress as before. Your motivation gets down too, because it's always the same, right? It's not new anymore, and then it goes down. Your progress goes down. And actually, this is a curve called, I forgot the name, a guy who made a study about this, who studied these cases of motivation in learning, and he said when it's this curve going down there, that's where you have to not give up. That's where most of people give up, and then it's completely down and it's over, right? If you don't give up there, it comes back again, and you have the next curve going probably a bit higher. And learning process most of the time is like this. You have curves of motivation and motivation, and it generally your level goes like this, but it goes generally up. If you see the graph, it's going up like this, right? So that's something also that's difficult for many people, because they don't know this happening, and they didn't expect this would happen, so they feel very happy in the beginning, and then they wonder why it's not so fun anymore after 6 months or something like this, and they give up. If you know that's normal, you just keep doing it, and you get rewarded later, because after 5 years, 10 years, 20 years doing it, you realize, well, I didn't give up, and now I have a really good level, because all these hours piled up, and I finally got results, right? Now, about motivation also, there are a lot of stuff that can help you to be motivated. One is a teacher. Of course, a teacher can motivate you. There are apps who can help you motivate you too. You can use apps with piano lessons, like apps to read notes, or apps to even Floki or Simply Piano. This can be used on the side to motivate you to do a bit, to have some variety, not always practice in the book, have some practice on an iPad, and with an app can be fun too for some, so that's possible too. So try to find anything that's motivating you and that's making you learn something, and implement this in your practice or in your lessons. Number 7 is physical discomfort. So In the beginning, it can also be very frustrating because your fingers don't move like you want, or you realize it's so difficult to coordinate your hand and think about everything at the time, and this can be a real frustration. I can see people like they are like clever people, they are successful in their job, and then they think, why am I not able to move my both hands together? It should be easy. Why can I not do it? And that's also sometimes the reason why people give up, because they think they're not good because their fingers don't move like they want. But that's something you should know from the beginning, and you should count with this in your progress. It's physical. Piano is also physical. It's not like a language. A language is only, let's say, intellectual. You have to speak it. But playing piano, there's a physical dimension. You have to train your muscles and your hands and your arms and your position and everything. This all stuff. And you have 10 fingers and 2 hands that you have to coordinate. And unless you have done stuff similar in the past, mostly it's very difficult in the beginning. And then as soon as you practice less, it goes down again. It's like sport. If you do again a week, you don't do sport anymore, your physical performance will go down. Same for your hand, right? It's also muscle and flesh and everything. So if you don't do 1 week playing piano, your physical abilities with your hands will go down too. And that can be very frustrating. So that this thing of having to do it all the time in order to keep up the level is something difficult. But there is something reassuring. It's like, it's very hard at the beginning, and then after, I'm sorry to say, 20 years, 30 years practicing, this gets easier. Like, after all this time, you can skip a week, you will lose a bit of your level, but your finger will still move and you still can play stuff. So that it's like not always like this, where it's not like you don't have to be scared that you will lose everything after 20 years of practice. You don't never lose everything, you always lose a bit. Of course, if you stop for 20 years, you will lose a lot more than if you stop for 2 months or 2 weeks. I think that's clear, right? But you never lose everything, by the way. Then number 8, and the last one, is lack of support. And for this, I sometimes suggest for people feel alone with the instrument, and they have nobody to talk or to share the enthusiasm, unless except in the lesson. So that's nice, I think, to have family or friends or a group to support you in your progress and to share. It's also nice to share sometimes. There are different solutions. You could sometimes play for family members. You don't have to play every Christmas an hour, but as soon as you have something nice, I have students who do this, like they say, okay, in 3 months I have my father visiting, I will play him one of the small Liszt pieces I was practicing, or a Mozart sonata that I was preparing. And that's a small goal, by the way, also, that's motivating. And then you play for someone, you play as well as you can, doesn't matter if you make mistakes, if you stop, if it doesn't work as you thought, that's normal, that's always happening. That's something actually you can talk about in the lesson too, actually. Also, most teacher organize small concerts, so you can play for other students, and then you can talk with other students about their progress, their frustration, and then you realize they feel the same, so you feel more relaxed feeling this because you're not alone. There are also forums on internet and groups where people chat about their piano progress, where people give advice to each other. There is a lot of videos on YouTube where people show the progress they are making. There are apps actually where you can practice and other people can listen to you. There are apps where you can have I'm actually building one of these apps where you can actually have a point system and have a small competition at the end of the week and have ranking and trying to be on top. So this could motivate you too, to be part of a community that try to get good, right, better, and motivate each other. So there are different solutions for this. And yeah, I think it's mostly family, forums, groups, and being surrounded by people who do the same stuff to be able to talk about. I think that's the best thing to do. This motivates a lot of people. So some small little advice I could add at the end as a bonus is celebrate small wins. So about being frustrated in the beginning, just learn to be happy to master like a chord, be able to play a chord, or to master a small scale, or to be able to realize the left hand of a piece, or having mastered a small piece, right? Celebrate small wins in the beginning. You have to start small. Then about the practicing time, try in the beginning to have small practicing time, so 10-15 minutes in order to be able to do them. So start with this. Try to have every day 10 minutes. It's very little, and most of the people think, 10 minutes is not enough. It's not worth doing it. That's wrong. 10 minutes is worth doing it if you focus in the 10 minutes, right? Because if you add 5 times 10 minutes, 6 days, 6 times 10 minutes, you have an hour already, right? And then you have 1 hour lesson, it's already 2 hours in the week. So that's better than 0. And because that's the problem. People say, okay, I need 1 hour. Today I don't have time for an hour, I will not do it today. And then the end of the week is there and they did nothing, right? And then they think, oh my God, I have to do. Then they do everything in the weekend, and they can because they are not used to practice, and then doing more than 10 minutes is difficult if you are not used. So they practice 10 minutes and they keep doing stuff for 50 minutes that don't bring anything because they're not focused anymore, because focusing you need to practice. So another tip is like, try to play pieces that you like. Now, if you play pieces you like, you will be happy to learn them, right? Because that's a motivation in itself. Now, about this, sometimes it's also good to try to play pieces you don't know. And it doesn't mean you don't like, because most of pieces, when you don't know, you don't like them directly. And then people think, I don't like the piece, by hearing them once. That's not enough. So trust your teacher, try out pieces you don't know, because sometimes you will end up liking them, not always, but it's worth discovering other stuff. And also because learning different kind of pieces will give you more knowledge than learning always the same kind of piece. So if you always go in the direction you know already, and we actually like what we know most of the time. There are studies on this. So people tend to stay to what they know, and they like this and they are happy with this, but you just miss out on discovering other stuff you might like, and that may even enrich your knowledge about music, and you might discover you like other composer, and then you have more choice and you're more happy because there are more stuff you can play that you like, right? So another tip is like change practice routine. Do sometimes sight reading, do sometimes exercise, sometimes playing old pieces, sometimes learning a new piece, sometimes trying to learn by heart. If you try different stuff and don't always do the same thing, it's easier to enjoy it. And then of course, try to enjoy what you do. Don't be focused on perfection and be angry if it's not perfect directly. Just enjoy what you do. Enjoy learning a little line and see, analyzing it and be curious and be happy to understand it, and then try to do it and be happy to do only the right hand. And if you make a mistake, it's okay. Don't be angry about this, because that's also something. People get annoyed by small stuff that doesn't work and they forget the global picture. And then important stuff too is track your progress. And this also, that's why I'm creating an app also, in order to track your progress and to track your practice. There are studies enough showing that tracking your progress in sport or language or any other activity motivates you, because you can see the stats and you can see you are sometimes just not far from making progress. So it just gives you this motivation of pushing it a little bit to get the progress, or you see you're doing great progress and then you're even more happy and you're doing even more progress. Or you just saw, okay, I had a bad week last week, I didn't practice enough, and this can, although you might think you practice, you can see sometimes you just didn't practice enough, and then this can give you a kick to do better next week, right? So tracking is important. And then the last thing, quite important, is search for inspiration. And that's what I said with the teacher, but you can find this online too, like watch videos of great pianists playing, because this might motivate you. That's something that's motivating me when I see amazing pianist playing. I always think, oh my God, I want to play like this, and then I go to the piano and I try to practice the thing and I try to get to this, and it's very motivating. Or listen to, there are lessons online, can be on harmony or on structure or on a piece. This can motivate you to search for motivating online, and there are videos enough about different stuff. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any suggestion, or if you let me know why you are unmotivated. Maybe I can help you and give you some advice, because I'm a piano teacher. And otherwise, I hope you enjoyed it, and see you next video.